Believe it or not, in the field of personal injury, there is a whole specialty on stairway cases. That would be slips and trips and falls that occur on stairways. Believe me, there's no shortage of data on such accidents. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has collected data over the years, and designers and architects are always mindful of what the safest configuration will be in putting together, creating a stairway. Locally, of course, we look at local building codes, and we certainly are bound by the state building code, and even to a certain extent the sanitary code speaks to stairway safety. There is also something known as the International Building Code Handbook, and that speaks to stairways. And one provision I want to call your attention to is dimensional uniformity. And they say that a significant safety factor involving stairways is the uniformity of risers, those are the ones that go up, and treads, the ones that go across, leading from one landing to the next. Now, they speak also that nothing should interfere with the rhythm of the stair user, and they permit thereby only very slight variations among riser height and tread depth. Again, you can find all the specific requirements contained in the building codes, but they always look for uniformity. And another item I would bring to your attention is the notion of single steps being inherently dangerous. Sometimes if you enter an establishment, there might be that one single step. And I have argued successfully that those are inherently dangerous. In any stairway case, you have to be concerned or focus on lighting, the type of surface that constitutes the stairway, and coefficient of friction comes into play, and for that you would need an expert. And you also have to be mindful, of course, of the kind of footwear that the client who sustained the fall was wearing. So those are issues that are guaranteed to come up in almost any stairway case. Recently, I was involved in a case where the maintenance of the restaurant's floor became an issue, and our argument was that the floor was not treated properly with the proper cleaning agents such that grease in that restaurant would build up and make the floor dangerous. That almost evokes the notion of a mode of operation. In the highest court of Massachusetts in the last 10 years has spoken about how a mode of operation of an establishment can be negligent. Another case I'm thinking of this fall that I handled was a fall with very serious injuries at a major public facility in the Boston area. And the gentleman, unfortunately, who sustained these very bad injuries seemed to have fallen on a stairway that at first blush looked very safe, looked very good. But when I did the inspection, I found a few things that gave rise to our argument of negligence. And that was that at the entrance that this gentleman fell at, there was no handrail that was accessible. The handrails were positioned at the extreme edge of each of the left side and right side of the stairway. In contrast, on another stairway exiting the building, where the client did not fall, the handrails were much closer together and were thereby accessible to somebody as my client walking down the middle of the stairway. So that allowed me to argue that there either should have been an intermediate handrail or the handrail should have been positioned as they were at the other exit way. Additionally, there were some non-slip rubber markings at the edge of the treads, the two very top and two very bottom treads of this stairway, but the client fell on one of the middle treads, not only in the middle of the stairway in a left or right sense, but in the middle of the stairway as he was proceeding down that stairway. And that afforded us an argument for why wasn't there this non-slip marking on the edge of every tread. And that certainly would not have been a high burden for this large public facility to have had, and yet they didn't have it on every step. So the bottom line is there is a whole science to this slip, trip, fall on stairways. There's a whole science to the design and maintenance of stairways, and there's nothing that substitutes for a personal inspection of the stairway, and you could compare it to other stairways that exist in the very same facility, and you may well find reason for why your client sustained an accident. Thank you.